God says, "My child, I need you to breathe slowly for a moment and feel the weight of what just happened, because your life shifted in a single heartbeat. You didn't expect the day to unfold this way. You didn't expect anyone to speak loudly about you. You didn't expect emotions to burst out in front of strangers. And you definitely didn't expect your soulmate, the same person who hid their feelings so deeply, to suddenly confess their love publicly, trembling in front of 3 policemen who watched everything without blinking. My child, I saw the exact moment your soulmate's heart could no longer stay silent. I saw how their hands shook, how their voice cracked, how their breath almost stopped, and yet they spoke. They didn't whisper. They didn't say it in a quiet corner. They didn't say it privately. They said it out loud, openly, as if the whole world needed to know the truth they had buried inside their chest for so long. That truth was you. That truth was their love for you. That truth was the longing they tried to hide but failed. Everything around them felt heavy. Their heart was beating so fast it almost hurt. They felt scared, nervous, exposed, and yet they couldn't hold back anymore. That moment was bigger than their fear, bigger than their hesitation, bigger than every reason they once used to stay quiet. And so, in front of those 3 policemen, in front of people watching with confusion and surprise, they stepped forward with courage they didn't know they had, and they spoke the words that changed everything. My child, you didn't even move at first. You stood there staring, your mind frozen, your breath stuck in your throat. You weren't ready for this. You weren't prepared to hear your soulmate speak so loudly, so honestly, so emotionally. You felt the world around you slow down. Every sound became distant. Every feeling inside you tried to rush out at once: shock, fear, confusion, hope, warmth, disbelief. You didn't know what to do. You didn't know what to say. You didn't even know how to react. And I understand. Because I know how much you've been carrying inside your heart. I know how much pain you have hidden. I know how many nights you wondered if your soulmate even cared. I know how many moments you doubted their intentions. I know how many times you told yourself you deserved honesty but kept receiving silence. I know how tired your heart has been. And that's why this moment feels unreal to you, because it came when you least expected it. But I want you to understand something very important: nothing about this moment was a mistake. Nothing about today was an accident. This confession was destiny unfolding in front of your eyes. This confession was the truth I had been preparing your heart for, even when you felt alone. This confession was the breaking point your soulmate reached after months of emotional pressure. They could not continue pretending that they didn't love you. They could not keep hiding how deeply they feel for you. They could not stay silent anymore while their heart begged them to speak. My child, do you know what your soulmate felt before speaking? Do you know why they couldn't hold back? They thought of losing you. They thought they had run out of time. They felt something inside them collapsing, something pushing them from within, like a voice saying, "Say it now, or you will regret it forever." Their emotions had been building like a storm, quiet, hidden, but powerful. And when the 3 policemen arrived, when tension rose, when fear touched them, they snapped. Their heart took over. Their soul overpowered their logic. And they confessed everything without thinking. The policeman didn't expect it either. They were standing there for a different purpose. But suddenly, they found themselves watching a human heart spill open with trembling honesty. They saw your soulmate's eyes turning red, their breath uneven, their words escaping like they had been trapped for ages. Even the policeman felt something in that moment. A strange stillness, as if they were witnessing fate reveal itself. People around stopped talking. Even the air felt quiet. That is what truth does, my child. When truth finally comes out, it freezes everything. It demands attention. It cannot be ignored. And I want you to know that your soulmate did not plan this confession. They did not wake up today thinking they would reveal their feelings so publicly. They did not expect their emotions to overflow this way. They didn't think about who was watching, who was judging, who was listening. They didn't think about the policeman, the crowd, the environment, or the consequences. In that moment, they were not thinking at all. They were only feeling. They were guided by a force stronger than fear. They were guided by destiny. My child, I have watched this soulmate of yours struggle with their feelings for a long time. They tried to deny them. They tried to hide them. They tried to pretend they didn't care. But every time they pushed their feelings down, the love inside them grew louder. Their silence was breaking them from inside. Their heart was tired of pretending. Their soul was exhausted from fighting the truth. And today, the truth won. Your soulmate didn't confess because they wanted attention. They didn't confess because they were forced. They confessed because their heart finally chose honesty over fear. They confessed because they realized they couldn't lose you. They confessed because I placed divine pressure on their soul. I whispered into their spirit, "Speak now." And they listened. My child, I want you to understand how powerful this moment is. It is not just a confession. It is a turning point. It is a doorway opening. It is a spiritual shift happening right in front of your eyes. Because once truth comes out, nothing stays the same. Once a heart speaks, it cannot go back to silence. Once love is revealed, everything changes. And everything has changed. The air around you changed. The energy between you changed. The eyes watching you changed. The destiny connecting you both changed. There is no returning to the old story. The confession has destroyed uncertainty. The confession has broken the wall between you. The confession has brought to light what was hidden in darkness. The confession has awakened something inside both of you. My child, I know you feel overwhelmed. I know you feel like crying. I know your heart is racing. But this is not confusion. This is recognition. This is your soul understanding what your mind hasn't caught up to yet. This is your heart remembering what your spirit always knew: this person is not in your life by accident. This connection is not ordinary. This love is not a mistake. It is a divine bond woven through your lifetimes. Your soulmate has been afraid for so long. Afraid of rejection. Afraid of vulnerability. Afraid of their own feelings. Afraid of society. Afraid of consequences. Afraid of losing you. But today, love became stronger than fear. My child, I am with you in this moment. I am holding your heart gently. I am guiding your emotions. I am preparing your spirit for what comes next. Because this is only the beginning. This confession is the opening chapter of a new story, one filled with healing, honesty, clarity, and transformation. Your soulmate didn't choose the perfect moment. They didn't choose a beautiful setting. They didn't choose calm surroundings. They chose raw truth. They chose honesty over elegance. And that is why their confession is powerful, because it came from their soul, not from planning. I want you to breathe. I want you to feel. I want you to know that this moment is sacred. And most importantly, I want you to understand that the story that begins today will not end in pain. I am guiding it. I am protecting it. I am shaping it. And I am preparing you for the next part, where the deeper truth behind this confession will unfold. You stood there frozen, your heart pounding so loudly you could hear it in your ears. The moment felt unreal, like a dream you didn't ask for but were suddenly thrown into. And as your soulmate's voice echoed in the air, something inside you opened, a doorway to feelings you thought you had buried. But before you could understand your own emotions, God began to speak softly inside your heart. My child, what you witnessed was not only a public confession, it was a breaking of chains, a release of pain your soulmate had carried for far too long. They didn't just confess love. They confessed fear, regret, longing, and truth all at once. They released every emotion they had hidden behind silence and pride. And now, you will understand why. Inside their heart, there has been a battle for months. A battle between wanting you and being terrified of losing you. A battle between hope and insecurity. A battle between truth and silence. They tried so hard to hide their feelings, but their heart was exhausted. Love became too heavy to carry quietly. Silence became too painful. And fear became unbearable. Your soulmate has lived with a wound for a long time. A wound created by past heartbreaks, betrayals, losses, and disappointments. They didn't trust themselves emotionally. They didn't trust the world. They didn't trust their own heart. They were afraid that if they confessed, everything would fall apart. They were afraid that you would walk away. They were afraid that you didn't feel the same. And they were afraid of appearing vulnerable. My child, do you remember the times they acted distant? Do you remember how they avoided certain conversations? Do you remember those days when it felt like they cared and then suddenly withdrew again? That wasn't lack of love. That was fear. That was their heart protecting itself from imagined danger. That was their soul trying to stay safe. But despite all this fear, the love inside them kept growing. Every day. Every moment. Every memory. Every thought that reminded them of you. And the more they tried to hide it, the more uncontrollable it became, until today. Today, the emotional weight inside their heart burst open. They didn't plan to confess. They didn't come there with the intention of revealing everything. But life pushed them. Destiny cornered them. And fear of losing you became stronger than fear of being exposed. So, when they saw the policeman nearby, when they felt tension rising, when they sensed something slipping out of their hands, they reached their emotional limit. The truth broke through their lips before they could stop it. But, my child, I want you to know something deeper. Something you haven't seen yet. Your soulmate has been crying behind closed doors for a while. There were nights when they couldn't sleep, nights when they held their chest because it physically hurt to hide their feelings, nights when they whispered your name into the darkness and prayed for courage. There were moments when they looked at your pictures and their eyes filled with tears because they missed you more than they could admit. There were times when they typed messages to you and deleted them because they feared saying too much. The world may think they are strong, brave, confident, or cold. But inside, they are soft. They feel deeply. They love strongly. And they suffer silently. That's why today's confession wasn't just a shock. It was a healing moment for their soul. The three policemen who looked at them didn't realize the emotional storm happening within. To them, it was unexpected and confusing. But to me, it was divine timing. I chose that moment. I chose that place. I chose those witnesses. Not to embarrass your soulmate, but to free them. Because sometimes, a soul needs pressure to speak. Sometimes, truth needs a push. Sometimes, fear needs to be cornered so it has no escape except honesty. And in that moment, your soulmate couldn't hide anymore. They confessed not because they wanted to impress anyone, not because they wanted sympathy, but because love overpowered fear. And their soul felt lighter the moment they spoke. But my child, I know you. I know your sensitive heart. I know your confusion. I know your pain. You are wondering why they stayed silent for so long. You are wondering why they made you wait. You are wondering why they let you feel alone. You are wondering why they couldn't tell you earlier. And your mind is filled with questions like, if they love me this much, why did they hide it? Why did they make me suffer? Why didn't they come earlier? Why did it take a dramatic moment for truth to come out? And I understand these questions. They are natural. They come from your heart's wounds, from moments when you felt ignored, from nights when you cried alone, from days when you wished for clarity and received silence instead. But listen to me closely, my child. Human hearts are complicated. People hide love not because they don't feel it, but because they are afraid of its power. They hide feelings because they fear repeating old heartbreaks. They fear losing something precious. They fear messing things up. And sometimes, they hide love because they think they are not good enough for the person they love. Your soulmate wasn't silent because they didn't love you. They were silent because they loved you too much, and that love frightened them. But something happened recently, something you may not even know about. They reached a breaking point. They started feeling you pull away emotionally, even if you didn't say anything. They sensed distance. They felt uncertainty. They thought they were losing you. And that fear shook their soul. There were moments when they watched you from afar, wanting to reach out, wanting to talk, wanting to express everything, but they held themselves back. They told themselves, "I will speak tomorrow. I'll explain later. Not today." But later never came. And then the fear of losing you grew stronger than the fear of speaking. And that is when destiny stepped in. My child, I placed that moment in their path. I placed those policemen there. I placed the tension in the air. I made their heart feel heavy. I made their emotions overflow. I made silence impossible. Because the truth needed to come out. Because you deserved clarity. Because they deserved release. Because both of your souls were stuck in a cycle of holding back. And when they finally confessed, you saw something in their eyes. Something raw. Something fragile. Something real. You saw pain. You saw fear. You saw love. You saw years of emotion breaking open. And whether you realized it or not, your own soul recognized the truth in their voice. The people around didn't understand the depth of the moment. They didn't know the history between you two. They didn't know the tears, the memories, the unspoken words. They simply watched a dramatic confession. But for your soulmate, it was everything. It was courage. It was vulnerability. It was surrender. And for you, it was awakening. Because even though you felt confused and overwhelmed, something inside you softened. Something shifted. Something started to heal. Your heart, which had been guarded for so long, began to open again. My child, this is only the beginning. The confession was only the surface. The real story lies deeper. Inside the hidden wounds your soulmate carries, inside the emotions they haven't yet expressed, inside the past that shaped their fear, inside the love that is stronger than anything they've ever felt. And now that the truth is out, everything will start unfolding. Everything that was buried will rise. Everything that was stuck will move. Everything that was silent will finally speak. This moment is the start of transformation. My beloved child, I need you to sit quietly with your heart for a moment, because what happened after that confession was bigger than anything you imagined. When your soulmate's trembling voice filled the air, something shifted around you, an energy, a silence, a pause in time. It wasn't only you who felt it. Everyone who stood nearby sensed that something sacred had just happened, something raw and unexpectedly honest. The three policemen who witnessed everything didn't move at first. They exchanged glances with one another, not out of judgment, but out of genuine surprise. They came there for a different reason, but suddenly they found themselves standing inside a moment so personal, so emotional, so real that even they didn't know how to respond. You may not realize it yet, but what they saw changed the way they looked at your soulmate, and even the way they looked at you. My beloved child, destiny uses people in strange ways. Sometimes strangers become witnesses to your transformation. Sometimes unexpected faces stand in places where the truth needs to be seen. Those officers were not there by accident. Their presence was part of the divine unfolding. Their calm, their silence, their unexpected softness, it all played a role in shaping the moment that followed. After your soulmate finished speaking, the entire place grew still. You could feel the air tighten, as if every soul around was afraid to breathe too loudly and break the moment. You stood frozen, trying to understand what was happening. Your soulmate stood in front of you, their eyes filled with a mixture of fear, desperation, and love. Their hands shook, their lips quivered, and they kept trying to swallow the lump in their throat. They had spoken the words they had buried for months, maybe years. And now they didn't know what would happen next. My beloved child, I watched their soul tremble. I watched their heart break open. I watched the tears forming in their eyes. They weren't afraid of the police officers. They weren't afraid of the crowd. They were afraid of you. Afraid of how you would react. Afraid of what you would think. Afraid that you might walk away without saying a word. Afraid that they had confessed too much, too late, too loudly. Love makes even the strongest hearts afraid. Your soulmate kept their eyes on you, waiting, hoping, silently begging for some sign, anything that told them you didn't hate them for saying the truth out loud. But you were overwhelmed. Your heart was racing too fast. Your thoughts were tangled. Your emotions were a storm. And you needed a moment to breathe, to understand, to feel. So you said nothing. And that silence, it broke your soulmate even more. My beloved child, silence has its own language. Sometimes silence means pain. Sometimes silence means shock. Sometimes silence means the heart is speaking louder than the mind. But to a soul that has just confessed everything, silence can feel like rejection, even when it's not. For a second, your soulmate's expression changed. Their hope flickered. Their courage wavered. Their eyes softened into something fragile, something like a child waiting for forgiveness. And when you looked away for a moment, they thought it was all over. They thought they had ruined everything. They thought they had embarrassed you. They thought you hated them. Inside their heart, a storm began. But destiny was not finished with them, or with you. My beloved child, at that moment, one of the policemen stepped closer, not with authority, not with anger, but with unexpected gentleness. He looked at your soulmate with understanding, as if he had seen this kind of pain before. His voice was calm, steady, almost father-like as he said, "Take a breath. You're okay." Your soulmate looked at him in disbelief. They expected judgment, but they received compassion. They expected mockery, but they received kindness. And that small gesture changed everything. It gave your soulmate a moment to breathe. It gave them a moment to steady themselves. It gave them a moment to gather their emotions. The other two officers didn't speak, but their faces softened. Their eyes weren't harsh. They weren't angry. They were witnessing a human heart breaking open, and even they understood the gravity of it. My beloved child, this moment didn't just touch your soulmate. It touched the officers, it touched the crowd, it touched the energy around you. And whether you realized it or not, it touched you. Inside your chest, something started shifting. A warmth started forming. A strange calmness began settling in the middle of your nervousness. You didn't understand why, but a part of you felt safe. A part of you felt seen. A part of you felt like you were watching destiny unfold exactly the way it was meant to. You finally looked back at your soulmate, and when your eyes met theirs, something powerful happened. Their breath caught. Their heart skipped. Their soul softened. Your eyes didn't hold anger. They didn't hold rejection. They didn't hold disgust. They held confusion, yes, but also emotion. A softness. A familiarity. A connection. And that was enough to give your soulmate a bit of hope. My beloved child, do you know what happens when two souls who are meant to be together lock eyes at the right moment? The world around them disappears. Voices fade. Time slows. Everything becomes still. Hearts speak in silence. And the soul says what the mouth cannot. That's what happened between you both. The officers stepped back slightly, giving space. The crowd stayed silent, unsure of what to say. And your soulmate, overwhelmed by emotion, took one small step toward you. Just one step. But it felt like the bravest step of their life. My beloved child, destiny will always create space for truth to breathe. And in that tiny space, everything began changing. Your soulmate wanted to speak again. They opened their mouth slightly, but their voice broke. They didn't know what to say next. They didn't know how to explain everything they had kept hidden. They didn't know how to tell you about the nights they cried for you, the days they longed for you, the fears that kept them silent, the love that kept growing no matter how hard they tried to control it. But even without words, you could feel the heaviness in their heart. You could feel the sincerity. You could feel the desperation. You could feel the truth. And your own soul started responding. My beloved child, something inside you began to melt. Walls you didn't know you had began to fall. Pain you carried for too long began to loosen. Doubts that haunted you for months began to soften. You felt your heart trembling, not from fear, but from recognition. Because despite everything, you always felt something for them. Something real. Something deep. Something powerful. Something that didn't go away even when you tried to move on. But you were scared too. Scared of getting hurt. Scared of being lied to. Scared of being abandoned again. Scared of believing in love that felt too risky. And that's why the moment felt so overwhelming. You were standing between fear and truth. But I was there with you, whispering to your soul, guiding your emotions, holding your heart gently. My beloved child, the confession changed everything because it broke the barrier that kept both of you apart. It forced the truth into the open. It made your soulmate vulnerable in a way they never imagined. And it made you see the raw, unfiltered version of their love. Nothing can go back to the way it was before. Your soulmate knows they cannot hide anymore. You know you cannot pretend nothing happened. The officers know they witnessed something sacred. The world around knows something powerful took place. And now, the next chapter begins, the emotional breakdown that your soulmate was desperately trying to hold back. Their tears. Their fears. Their past. Their hidden wounds. Their deepest truths. All of it is rising to the surface. My beloved child, after that moment when your eyes met, everything inside your soulmate collapsed at once. They had been holding themselves together with trembling hands, holding their emotions like fragile glass, hoping it wouldn't shatter in front of everyone. But love can only stay hidden for so long. Pain can only stay locked for so long. Truth can only stay quiet for so long. And when you looked at them with that softness in your eyes, something inside their heart broke open completely. They took another small step toward you, but their legs felt weak. Their breath trembled. Their chest tightened. Their eyes filled with tears faster than they could blink them away. They tried to speak again, but the words refused to come out. Their voice cracked, their lips shook, and suddenly the strength they had moments ago disappeared like a fading shadow. My beloved child, your soulmate wasn't crying because they were ashamed. They were crying because they had carried too much for too long. They were crying because they had finally spoken the truth they had been terrified to say. They were crying because your silence scared them, but your eyes comforted them. They were crying because they didn't know what would happen next. Most of all, they were crying because they loved you more than they had ever loved anyone in their entire life. All the emotions they had buried were rising at once: fear, longing, guilt, regret, hope, relief. It was overwhelming. Their heart felt too full. Their soul felt too exposed. Their body couldn't hold the weight anymore. And suddenly, in front of the 3 policemen, in front of the quiet crowd, in front of you, they broke down. My beloved child, the tears that fell from their eyes weren't ordinary tears. They were years of unsaid words. They were nights of missing you. They were days of pretending they didn't care. They were moments of jealousy, moments of fear, moments of longing. They were pieces of their heart that finally had a place to fall. One of the policemen stepped forward again, this time even more gentle than before. He didn't treat your soulmate like someone causing trouble. He treated them like a human being who was hurting. He put a steady hand on their shoulder and softly said, "It's okay, breathe slowly, you're safe." Those words were strange comfort. Your soulmate nodded weakly, trying to breathe, but their chest was tight. They wiped their tears with trembling fingers, embarrassed yet unable to stop. The other 2 officers stepped slightly to the side, creating space, almost like they were protecting the moment instead of interrupting it. None of them mocked, none judged, none rushed. Their silence was respectful, understanding, almost sacred. My beloved child, even the universe knows when a soul needs kindness. You watched your soulmate crumble and something inside you stirred. You had never seen them like this. Not this vulnerable. Not this open. Not this fragile. This was the part of them they had always hidden from the world, the part that needed love the most. Seeing them cry did something to your heart. It didn't make you angry. It didn't push you away. Instead, it awakened a compassion inside you that you didn't expect. You saw their trembling hands. You saw their shaking breath. You saw the way they looked at you like you were the only one who could save them from drowning in their own emotions. And without thinking, you took a small step toward them. My beloved child, that one step from you changed everything. When your soulmate saw you move closer, their breath hitched. Their eyes widened. Their tears paused for a moment. And in that moment, hope returned to their soul like a fragile light. You didn't speak yet, you didn't know what to say, but your presence was enough. You were standing close enough for them to feel your energy, close enough for them to sense your emotion, close enough for them to know you didn't hate them. That closeness broke them even more. They placed their hand on their chest, as if trying to hold their heart inside. Their knees felt weak. Their voice trembled as they whispered your name, barely audible, but full of pain, love, and desperation. They tried to explain themselves, but only a choked sound came out. They couldn't control anything anymore. My beloved child, pain makes the strongest crumble. Love makes the bravest fall to their knees. And right there, your soulmate reached a point they had avoided their whole life, the point where they could no longer hide behind strength. Their soul was naked in front of you. Their truth was exposed. Their defenses were gone. They looked at you with tear-filled eyes, silently begging you to understand. Inside their heart, a storm raged. I'm sorry. I was scared. I didn't want to lose you. I love you. I never stopped. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to hurt you. I'm not good at expressing myself. I thought I would lose you if I confessed. I couldn't hold it anymore. I still want you. I need you. All those words were inside them, but they couldn't say a single one. Their throat was tight. Their voice was gone. Their emotions were too heavy. My beloved child, you didn't need to hear the words to feel them. Their eyes were speaking to you. Their tears were speaking to you. Their trembling was speaking to you. Their pain was speaking to you. And deep inside, your heart understood. You finally whispered softly, just breathe, it's okay. Your soulmate closed their eyes for a moment. Your voice calmed them. Your tone soothed them. It felt like their whole world softened with those simple words. Nobody else mattered. Not the police. Not the people watching. Not the surroundings. Only your voice. For a few seconds, both of you simply stood there, breathing in the same moment, carrying the same tension, feeling the same shift. Then something happened that even destiny had been waiting for. Your soulmate's emotional breakdown opened something spiritual around you. The atmosphere felt different, warmer, lighter, more peaceful. A tiny breeze moved through the air, touching your face gently. It wasn't cold. It wasn't sharp. It was soft, almost like a heavenly hand wiping away your confusion. My beloved child, whenever a soul breaks honestly, heaven sends comfort. The officers looked around, sensing the sudden calmness. Even the crowd became more silent, as if feeling something sacred. Your soulmate, in their emotional collapse, suddenly felt a small moment of internal peace, just enough to breathe again. They took a shaky breath and whispered, still trembling, I didn't want to lose you. I thought if I stayed quiet, I would be safe, but it hurt too much. I couldn't hold it anymore." Their voice was weak but honest. Every word came straight from their soul. And hearing them speak made your heart ache in a new way, not the painful kind, but the kind that opens doors inside you. You realized something important in that moment. Your soulmate wasn't strong because they hid their emotions. They were strong because they finally faced them. My beloved child, the truth is this: your soulmate wasn't breaking down. They were breaking open. Breaking open to love. Breaking open to healing. Breaking open to change. Breaking open to the kind of emotional honesty they had avoided their whole life. And you were witnessing the birth of a new version of them, one who was finally ready to love openly, truthfully, courageously. But this emotional collapse also awakened something inside you. You saw their humanity. You saw their rawness. You saw their sincerity. And you began to feel something rising inside your own heart, an old emotion you had pushed down, a connection you couldn't deny anymore. Your soulmate wasn't the only one changing. You were too. And this moment, this emotional breakdown, became the turning point. My beloved child. Breathe slowly and listen with your heart, because what I am about to tell you is the ending of one story and the beginning of a completely new one. You have walked through confusion, shock, fear, and overwhelming emotions. You watched your soulmate confess their love publicly, trembling in front of the policeman, standing in front of everyone with pure truth in their eyes. You watched them break down, you watched their soul open, and you felt your own heart shifting into a space you never imagined. And now, in this final moment, everything in your life is becoming different. Everything is turning into something new, something softer, something truer. The world you knew yesterday is not the world you are living in today. Because now, my child, everything has changed. You may not fully understand it yet, but that confession was not just a moment. It was a doorway. It was destiny turning the lock. It was a divine shift that has started rewriting your path in ways you cannot see with your eyes but can deeply feel with your spirit. Your soulmate's words, their tears, their courage, their shaking voice, all of it has already altered the direction of your future. And I want you to understand why. When a soul speaks truth in a moment of fear, that truth becomes more powerful than anything that came before. Your soulmate didn't just say they loved you. They surrendered. They broke open. They gave up their pride, their secrets, their shields, and they allowed their heart to speak louder than their fear. Only a soul chosen for your destiny could have done that. Only someone connected to you at a spiritual level would have been able to confess like that, in front of people who could judge them, question them, or misunderstand them. Your soulmate didn't care who was watching. They didn't care about the consequences. They didn't care about their image or their reputation. In that moment, the only thing they cared about was not losing you. Their heart was louder than the world around them. Their love outweighed their fear. Their truth outran their shame. That is why the confession happened. Not because they planned it, not because they had control over it, but because destiny took over their tongue and spoke through their trembling voice. And my child, I want you to understand something very important. When truth is spoken like that, heaven listens. The universe shifts. Angels take their positions. Your next chapter begins. Your soulmate has changed. Their heart is softer now. Their spirit is calmer. All the fear they carried, the fear of losing you, the fear of confessing, the fear of truth, has fallen away. That confession was their breaking point, but it was also their rebirth. They became honest with themselves in the same moment they became honest with you. And honesty always creates transformation. You are not dealing with the same person you knew before. You are dealing with a soul that has been cracked open, awakened, humbled, and purified by their own emotions. And now, my child, let me tell you what is happening inside you. Something in you has shifted too. You feel lighter. You feel something rising inside your chest. You feel like a part of your heart that was asleep has opened its eyes. You feel clarity you didn't even know you needed. You feel a strange calmness, even after everything that happened. This calmness is not an accident. It is your soul recognizing truth. It is your spirit acknowledging destiny. It is your heart understanding something your mind cannot put into words. You are entering a new phase of love, one where fear is melting, where doubt is dissolving, where old wounds are losing their power. You are not stepping into a fragile connection anymore. You are stepping into something deeper, stronger, and more spiritually aligned. The confession did not break you. It awakened you. It prepared you. It changed you. It brought you into a space where you feel ready to receive the love that was always meant for you. And now, let me tell you what happens next. Your soulmate will not hide anymore. They won't run anymore. They won't pretend they don't feel what they feel. They won't allow distance, pride, ego, fear, or confusion to come between the two of you ever again. The moment they confessed publicly was the moment their spirit decided, I am done losing this person. I am done pretending. I am done running. Their heart has chosen you. Fully, clearly, boldly, fearlessly. You will notice small things first. Their voice will be softer when they speak to you. Their eyes will hold you longer. Their messages will come with more honesty. Their presence will feel safer. Their energy will feel warmer. They will start showing effort that you used to beg for in silence. They will show up in ways they never did before. They will take responsibility. They will protect the connection instead of risking it. They will try to heal the wounds they caused. They will make space for you. They will prioritize you. They will love you not with fear, but with clarity. Because now, they know what losing you feels like. And they know they cannot handle that pain again. My child, this is not a temporary change. This is not a moment of emotion that will fade away. This is a transformation born from truth. It is real, deep, and spiritual. You are stepping into a new bond, one built on confession, courage, and destiny. But now let me turn toward you, because you, my beloved child, are also stepping into a new version of yourself. You are learning how strong your heart is. You are learning how deeply you can feel. You are learning what love looks like when it is finally honest. You are learning that you deserved this truth long ago, and now you are finally receiving it. You are learning that your worth is higher than you believed. You are learning that you never needed to chase love, it was always meant to come to you. And it has. A new chapter is opening before your very eyes. A chapter of hearing truth instead of lies. A chapter of being valued instead of ignored. A chapter of emotional clarity instead of emotional chaos. A chapter of love instead of fear. Your future is not going to look like your past. You are moving into a space where your heart will feel seen, heard, and held. Your soulmate is stepping into the version of themselves that you always prayed for. And heaven is guiding both of you into a destiny that was written long before you were even born. So now, my child, let your heart relax. Let your spirit breathe. Let your mind release fear. Because the chapter you are entering is filled with healing, honesty, love, and protection. You are walking into a future where you won't have to question anyone's intentions. You won't have to beg for effort. You won't have to fight alone. You won't have to suffer in silence. You won't have to wonder if you are loved. You are loved. Deeply, loudly, publicly, fearlessly. This confession has changed everything because it has aligned you with the destiny that has always belonged to you. And now, I bless your journey. I bless your heart. I bless your connection. I bless the new beginning that is opening before you. Walk forward gently. Walk forward with hope. Walk forward knowing you are protected, guided, and never alone. Your story is just beginning, and the best chapters are unfolding now.